Welcome back to the Seriously Ghetto workshop. It's been a little while. I made another video last week, then I had company and I slept 2 or 3 times since then, so I'm sorry I never put that one up. Basically, all it amounted to is I added some LEDs front and back. Richard told me I needed to, and he was right. It makes it a whole lot easier. I got my voltage monitor working through SmartPort, and I've done a few other things with the radio that are pretty cool. Alarms and voices and different things. I'll share some of that with you sometime. Thing is, a while back, as I was fixing a few things on this, I mentioned that this wasn't a finished product, that there would be a version 2 and so on that I would keep improving. The fact is, I've gotten to a point with this though where I really like it, and I'm not willing to take it apart in order to find out if something else works better. I just like this. It's true that it's not as pretty as Richard's builds. I don't know if any are, but you know, he calls his old Thunder, I call mine my jalopy, but I love this jalopy. It flies great, performs, doesn't have FPV. There are things I could have done better, but I'm not willing to take it apart to find out if something else is going to work, because I like it. Now, I do intend to upgrade some things, but before I do, I'm going to use something else as a test bed, if you would. I bought a used frame. I want to show you that first. From who did I buy that from? I can't remember. At any rate, I don't think he's a member of the group, but I told him about it. He might join. It came with a couple of spare plates. The bottom plate here, just like this, got two bottom plates. Got this top plate, which I would rather have used, but because it's a little bit stiffer and thicker, but I wasn't able to because it didn't have a place to mount the antenna jumper that Richard made for me. I also had this PDB. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but I'm just not wild about it. I don't. It's huge. It's heavy. I just don't see the point. I think there's a lot better ways to do that. So what I think I may do with this is put it on some kind of a board or something and make a little test bed out of it. Something I can easily connect and disconnect, you know, power and ESCs and such to it. Just find out if they work. That's another project for another time. Pardon me. All right, now, as this came, when I started putting it together, one of the first things I noticed was the angle of this front arm. And I don't know if you can see it here. I'll say it's got a forward angle to it, and I don't like that very much. I like things flat and square, and I think the flight controller probably likes it better too if it doesn't have to try to figure out what level is. I don't think you'd ever be able to really hover this. It'd always want to move forward, and I don't want that. Maybe some advantages for FPV, and I'll be doing FPV pretty soon. I've got some stuff coming that I'll do a separate video on, but I also like to fly line of sight. So what I did is I took these little blocks that are on here, top and bottom, that set that angle. I took them off and mounted them this way on the back. As you can see, they're nice and flat. Kind of reduces the weight a little bit too, I suppose. Not that that matters that much on this, but it kind of does. Another thing that I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it this way with these legs on top. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing that is a holdover from my days of working in aviation maintenance, both in the military and general aviation, and I'm a pilot also. In aviation, a general rule of thumb or best practice is that if you have a bolt and nut and you have a choice as to which way to put it, you always put it facing down so that the bolt can't fall out. So that's going to make that this way. Now, if it were the other way around, like this, and one of these nuts ever did come off, which I don't expect them to, but if it ever did, there's a pretty good chance it'd come in here and roll around in the electronics, you know, possibly short things out. That can't be good. If it comes off out here, it's just going to fall out and drop off, and it'll be gone. Big deal. I can get another one. But the bolt won't come out either, which will tend to help keep whatever component you're attaching in place. So that's why I did that. It also is going to provide a much cleaner surface to mount the ESCs when I get them. And this, I think the guy said this thing started life as a Minion 220. It's a little bit bigger than the RG210, but I think it mostly gets it by spreading it out this way. The arms are actually maybe even just a hair shorter as I look at it compared to my 210. But it'll work. This will give me a little more room to work with here. You can see I've kind of test fitted a little piece of heat shrink tube over the arm. I've got some pads coming. I can't remember who I got them from. They're just little neoprene pads that fit under the arm. They're tall enough that they'll keep these nuts and plate off the ground. That'll work. Okay, moving on. I have test fitted my Red Rotor OSD Pro power distribution board to it. That's going to set okay. I got to tell you guys, I'm not as impressed with this board as I thought I would be, for a couple of reasons. Now, it's going to work and I'm going to use it, but it costs a lot more than other boards, and mainly it's because it has this OSD functionality built into it. And as it turns out, I'm not going to use that. I've actually powered it up, looked at it through my teleporters, which, okay, I'll grant you they're not the best in the world, but the font is tiny. I'm just not impressed with it. It's not worth the money I spent on it. I've had a couple of other problems too. One being that I tried to order this board from Red Rotor and they were out of stock. I actually had to get it from somewhere else. But what he did have in stock was the FTDI adapter that you use to upgrade the firmware if you want to. Okay, I ordered that on the 1st. I still don't have it, and the guy who runs Red Rotor has become unresponsive. I'm afraid I'm probably going to have to actually go through PayPal to try to get my money back. Now, among the other shortcomings of the board, as I see it, is where you have to hook the ESCs. They're all on the same side over here. It's not really that big an issue, but it'd be nice if it was a little more evenly distributed. There's also the only power in, or I should say power out, are these sets of pins forward and back. The forward one goes to the cam, and that'll work fine. The one in the back goes to the transmitter, the video transmitter, and that'll work fine too. But that's pretty much it. There's a socket for a buzzer here, and I don't have the manual handy. It said something about if you lose signal for a certain amount of time, it'll eventually start buzzing. Just keep buzzing. I don't know why a power distribution board would need that. I kind of have that functionality built in on the flight control board with the buzzer. I don't really need that here. Possibly could have used some other power outputs. You'll see this one lone hole right up here in the corner. That does say 5 volts. It's not mentioned in the manual. And I asked him, he said you just have to find your own ground, which I guess you could take it from this buzzer if you're not using that. But so that's not very well documented for something that's really kind of a complex sort of a board as far as a PDB goes. And then there's one other hole up here, and I have no idea what it's for. I'm sorry, you can get a whole lot better board for about 1/3 the price. So sorry, Red Rotor, I can't recommend this, and I don't recommend you guys buy it either. So there's the bottom plate. Now let me find the top plate over here. Oh, here it is right in front of me. I've test fitted some things to this just to see how they're gonna wind up. You can see here. Let's see if I can get it right. This is the jumper that Richard made for me. This is a beautiful little piece of equipment. It's gonna protect the soldering antenna connection on the video transmitter. He's pointed them out a few times. Richard, thank you very much. This is a real piece of work, guys, and artistry too. If you look at it, it's very well done. Richard makes them himself. I'm liking that. And the whole reason I chose this flimsier top plate is because the other one didn't allow me a place to put this, and I really wanted to use it. So that's why that is. Now on to underneath. I can see you can see here on the back I've already mounted the video transmitter. I got a 200 microwatt video transmitter here. I'm going to leave these cables long. I'll tuck them away somewhere because this stuff's not going to stay here. If it all works, then I'll take my 210 apart and upgrade it. But this will be a test bed. I just can't see this performing as well as that. But I'll test it out on here first and give me something to do. You can also see I've put that XSR receiver up here. Now that's pretty cool too. You can see. Look, here's my thumbnail. There's the receiver. Let me move up a little closer. This thing about the size of a quarter. All right, it's tiny, weighs nothing. Let's see if you look at it from this side compared to that X8R, which is huge, way bigger than the one that comes with the Fly Sky. Anyhow, I'm really liking this, and it didn't cost much either. There's the antennas. They're not very long, but apparently they're supposed to be just as good. We'll be finding out. Now, to go with all this, I got a set of motors here. I had another little video on Facebook earlier. These same ones, the originals, they're the 2204, 2300 kVs. I didn't get the 2600s. I got another set of these from Richards. I think they'll do for now. Later on, I may want to upgrade. I'm not going to cut the wires on these this time either. I'm going to make it easy on myself. And I also got from Richard 4 of these 20 amp Simon K's ESCs. There's some similarities between this and the Little B and some differences. One of the main differences is this can sticking off the end here. I have no idea what that is. I'm not much for electronics. I mean, I can figure out the software and the configuration and all that, but I don't really know what these parts do, most of them. I have no idea what that is, but it's on Simon K stuff, and it's not on BL Healy stuff. One similarity is the way the connection to the flight control board is set up. This has only a signal and a ground wire, no power. So that would mean you'd have to supply power somehow to the board, just like you do on the NACE 32 and the Little B's. I'm thinking that means this is opto as opposed to linear or switched. I'm going to have to figure that out. Now, while we're on this part, I just spoke to Richard a little bit ago, and he said he didn't mind if I do this, so I'm going to tell you. I've already ordered a set of 4 20 amp Little B Pros to go with this, and I should have them Monday, so I'm not actually going to use these, even though I got them from Richard, and I'm going to play around with this one a little bit. So I don't really foresee any problem. I want to see what's in it in BL Healy Suite. I don't foresee any problem, but there's no guarantee that this one will survive. Although I'm pretty sure it will, but I can't guarantee it. But having said that, I've got 4 of them. I'm not going to use them. So I'm going to give them away to one of the members of the Rotocross Racing Group. Somebody likes, I don't know, Simon K, or just needs to save a little bit of money or something like that, working to get a build, and you're on a tight budget like me, maybe these will help you out. I haven't figured out exactly what the rules will be. I'll announce that on the Rotocross Racing site probably tomorrow. I'll have to think about it. It's going to be stupid simple. I don't like those giveaways where you have to do 15,000 things and jump through a bunch of hoops, and it's going to happen fast, because I don't think anybody should have to wait a month, you know, for something like this. This is going to be something easy, and that's going to be about it. So I'll try to figure out what the rules ought to be by tomorrow and make the announcement there, and then we'll pick a winner within a week. Now, if I got enough money, I'll ship them to you. If I don't, you may have to pay $1 or $2 to ship, but we'll work that out between me and the winner when that happens. So there's that. Now let's move on. To go with the the video transmitter, I've got a camera set up here that I'm going to put on. I have 2 cameras actually. This one is a Fat Shark Pilot HD without the case, and I was going to use it because it has a built-in video recorder right here. You can put a little SD card in, push the button, it just starts recording. I was going to use that, but as it turns out, the video receiver that I have coming, that'll be the next video probably. I ordered some of those Quantum V2 Pros that Richard put a link up to a couple of days ago. 37 bucks, man. It's hard to see how you're going to beat that. I kind of wanted HeadPlay HD, but man, 37 bucks versus 250. Okay, that wasn't going to happen anytime soon, but this can. I've got them coming. That receiver has a built-in DVR, so I don't really need that on this. So I have this little camera that you can't see too well right here. Maybe you can see it okay, I hope. This came with the frame also. There were a couple of different ones. I like this one best. I just got it zip tied in there, which is really all you have to do. I don't know how well you can see the angle. It's pointed up a little bit, not too extreme, because I'm not a great pilot either. Well, maybe you can see it from the back there. So when I lean over about this far, the camera's up, getting to level. So something I can handle for FPV, and I suppose that, I could tilt it up further. I know the camera has a nice wide field of view, so horizontally and vertically. So it's a pretty good little camera. It's 600 TVL. I got that, and this 200 microwatt or milliwatt, however you rate it, this LT200 video transmitter off of Hobby King a while back. Pardon me, for 26 bucks for the set. Not the mount part here, but just the camera and transmitter. They worked. They hooked right up to my Fat Shark goggles. Just it was real easy. For 26 bucks, I don't think you can beat that, especially if you're just getting into it, just fooling around a little bit. They have other sets that are a little, maybe more power and more resolution for the camera, but that's going to be good enough for me. Now onto the flight controller. Pardon me. I've just about got this Seriously Pro figured out. You can see I've got it pinned up here. It's not perfect either. There's a couple of them aren't really as straight as I'd like them to be, but my soldering came out okay, and I have actually figured out, pretty much, don't pay any attention to these pins, I just put them on there to kind of look and see how it was going to fit, checking clearance and whatnot. This board will do a lot of stuff. It'll do just about everything I want to do. It'll do OSD, LEDs, telemetry through one wire. It's got an SD card for logging on the back, so if I want to use that for tuning or take it into Google Earth and just watch where I flew or something like that. Then you can overlay all that. If you use black box, you can overlay all that data onto your video and kind of find out how you were performing at different points in your flight. So at any rate, this one does it all. And you don't have to choose. The only thing I've seen on here where you have to choose, this is a software debugging port, and on the bottom you've got UART2, which also has pins right here on the end. These are for the first 4 ESCs. These 3 pins right here in this pad, that's UART2. The only restriction I've seen so far is that you can't use the software debugging port and UART2 at the same time. I don't intend to use the software debugging port, so that won't be an issue. Everything else, I mean, the USB doesn't tie up any other device. I think it comes with 3 UARTs, an IC squared, however they say that kind of port, which I never use either. And I believe 3 soft serials. You can use them all at the same time, so everything works all at once. You don't have to pick and choose. It costs a little bit more, but I think it may be worth it. But again, like I said, it's not something I'm willing to take my RG210 apart to find out. I'll find out here first, and then if it works, then I'll think about taking that apart and swapping all this stuff over and tidying things up a little better. Okay, let's see. About the last thing I've got here is this buzzer I bought today at Radio Shack. That was one of the few things that I forgot to order this time around when I was getting stuff. It didn't cost much, about 5 or 6 bucks, but it's huge. It's way bigger than the receiver, the buzzer. I found it out, got a place at 90 decibels. I think it'll be plenty loud enough, which I kind of need a loud buzzer. This is the one that I got originally. You can see the size difference here. Now, I robbed a couple of wires off here because the LEDs I bought before had a buzzer built into it. And it's okay, but I was trying to figure out if I could still use this, but this one has 3 wires. Ground, power, and a signal. And it was meant to plug into a receiver, and I don't know how I can hook this up to just to be able to use the buzzer if I'm not using a regular receiver with like PWM outputs. You know what I'm saying? Like the one that comes with the FlySky. I don't have anything to plug that in, so tell you what, that's going to be the rule right there for this ESC giveaway. If anybody knows a way that I can either plug this into a Seriously Pro Racing F3 Mini and make it work, or eliminate it so that I only need 5 volts, send me your answer. Send it on Rotocross Racing. Don't send it here at Facebook because I never look at the comments here, or YouTube. I'm sorry, don't send it to YouTube because I never look at the comments here. If you need to contact me, do it there. If anybody knows the answer to that question, we'll give it about a week to see how many responses I get, and then I'll pick a winner from the correct answers. So there you go. I either need to figure out how to use this with the Seriously Pro Racing F3 Mini, or eliminate it so that I only need 5 volts to power this buzzer. This buzzer came from Hobby King. It's a standard buzzer. You can look it up if you want. I don't have the package anymore, but there it is. And it had 3 wires just like that in a little pin block. You know what I'm talking about, like you plug into a standard PWM receiver. So there you go. If you want to win some ESCs, try to help me figure out the answer to that question. We'll give it a week. I'll announce that tomorrow. It'll be a week from tomorrow when I announce it. I'll choose from the correct winners. We'll figure out some way to do a random drawing from the correct answers, and I will hook it up to make sure. If it works, fine. And, you know, if we don't, we'll work out something else. But eventually, we'll give these ESCs away. All right, that's it for this installment. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.